Hey guys, my name is Mavi and I've spent the last 14 years in the plastic surgery and beauty industry, working alongside top board certified plastic surgeons.
Now I'm an independent patient coordinator who doesn't work for any surgeon. This means I have unbiased reviews for hundreds of doctors and I can help you achieve the look of your dreams, whether that's a supernatural or a video vixen. I use my professional and personal plastic surgery experience to help you look and feel your best.
Join in on the fun as I talk to plastic surgery experts, friends, and real-life patients about all things plastic surgery. Should be fun. Hey guys, do I have the episode for you today? I'm super excited today to have a recovery diary, and you guys are going to love the topic and the person that I'm chatting with today. So for today's episode, we're going to have Santina. If you guys are on TikTok, you might know who she is. And she's going to tell us all about her recovery diary of having arm lipo. Hi, Santina.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited for you to give us the whole rundown of how it was for you to have arm lipo. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about you and how you got into social media, how you got even into the plastic surgery world, which I think a lot of people don't know that it's a whole industry, and it's once you get in there, everybody knows everybody. So right. I'm super excited.
It was totally like unplanned, very unexpected. It kind of just like happened. So I had gone to school and I studied political science and religion, and I was going to go to law school. And I went to FSU, which is in Tallahassee, and I moved back to Miami, which is where I'm from, to like start studying for the LSAT. I wanted to go to UM, which is like here in Miami. And I started working at a law firm because I'm like very like, I need to have a plan A, plan B, plan C, whatever. So I needed to know like what it was to work at a law firm before I like go to school and spend like thousands and thousands of dollars becoming a lawyer. And that I don't even like the day-to-day. So I started working at this corporate firm in downtown, which is some like the law that I wanted to go into. And I went from like secretary to like legal intern to paralegal, whatever, within 2 years. And I just was not fucking with like being in a cubicle all day, like talking like on email, like, oh, please advise when you can, like it's like a very formal thing. And on the side, that was in 2021, I believe. And in 2020, I had joined TikTok as like a user, like anyone else. And I just like, I've always loved social media. Like I kind of grew up with it. Like Facebook came out when I was like 12. So I was like, let me learn this new social media platform that the kids are using. And I would like post these videos where I would try on like Pinterest outfits, like super viral Pinterest outfits. And then at one day I like made a very like facetious video that went very viral. It was called like, is it a fit or is she just skinny? And I was like, what is the common denominator of all these Pinterest outfits that are like basic as hell? And it's that the people in the photos are like super thin and the outfits are not that great to begin with. So that I remember I had gone on a plane, like right after I posted it. And when I came down, like when I came off the plane, I had like 250,000 followers overnight. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, but I had not done anything with that following really. Like it just happened and I was like, okay, I'm still going to law school. So in 2021, I was working at the law firm. Like a year had passed and I kind of let my TikTok account like die. Like I would just sporadically post. Like it wasn't really a thing for me. But I was like looking for ways to get out of the legal world or like avoid going to law school. And I was speaking to my coworkers and they were like, bro, like, why don't you just do social media? And I'm like, bro, I don't have enough followers to like do brand deals. I just have like enough followers to like post and get some like hit. And they're like, okay, but you could definitely do it for like someone else. And I was like, wait, that's kind of smart. So I started looking at like social media management jobs. And I mean, I applied for like a bunch, like BuzzFeed. I applied for some like insurance company, like all these different kind of companies. And then I remember I stayed home one day to do an interview for one of the prospective jobs and he canceled last minute. And I was like, oh, my dreams are dying. And I went on like LinkedIn and I started looking at more jobs. And like an hour before that, Dr. Miami had posted that he was hiring not just for a social media manager, but a social media personality. Like he wanted someone specifically who was going to like come up with the content, but also be in it. Cause he has like a busy schedule. And so he's not always able to like fully be in the videos. And that's kind of like the style of social media he's done since Snapchat, like since the inception of Dr. Mary. So, I mean, I'm from Miami. He's like a local legend. I was like, this is sick. So I like wrote a cover letter, like explaining like, oh, like, listen, I have no formal experience, but this is how I've grown my account. These are my viral successes. Like I make content that's original and that's able to transcend platforms. I'm a huge Dr. Miami fan. I'm from Miami. I'm super interested in plastic surgery. I work at a law firm. I'm very organized, detail oriented, like all these things. I applied and like an hour later, I get a call from his office and they were like, we saw your application. We'd love to meet you. And so I go in, like, I think the next day I called in sick again to the law firm. I go in, I meet them and then boom, like the job was mine. That's kind of how I got in. It was kind of also, they hired me not knowing like none of us expected to have like the success that we had on social media. They just kind of wanted someone to keep their account like regular since they had kind of let it drop off since the pandemic. So they hired me half as like a clerical assistant since I did have like that office background. So they had me do clerical stuff like talking to patients, like scheduling surgeries, and then also doing the social media. But after like 2 months, like the social media was like really taking off, they allowed me to just like focus on that. And then from there, like within the first 4 months of me working there, I think we like gained 1 million followers. Like it was something crazy like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We were posting like twice a day, like actually 2 to 3 times a day, like super consistent, like on top of every trend. Like, and then from there, like a bunch of other businesses started to reach out to me and they were like, oh my God, like we love what you've done with Dr. Miami. Like, could you do it with us? And my friend, Danny Cleric, who she does like interior design on TikTok. She's like a social media girly. Her boyfriend owns a local film lab in Miami called Bella's Film Lab. And so he had reached out to me and he was like, I would love for you to do this for our business. And I was super intrigued because like, I love things like within my own community, like kind of niche things. I love film. And he's also someone that I like someone new. So I'm like, yeah. And then that's basically what I've been doing ever since. And then growing my own account at the same time.
How fun. I feel like it takes a lot of creativity to be able to create content that not only goes viral, but creates a community and a following behind it.
It's true. My friends tell me, they're like, you're so sick. Like when they see me, one thing I actually do now, which is like, it's kind of like consulting, is that once a week I like send video ideas to certain businesses. And I just like basically tell them like the audio, what text to write on the screen, like how to shoot the video, and then the caption. And like I usually give like different options for the sounds, whatever. But it's very tailored to that business. And so sometimes I'm like with my friends and I'm like listening to a sound over and over and over and over again, like trying to think of like a really like not just like anyone can make a video that's like that uses an audio for a specific business, but it needs to be like niche and also like the way you write it needs to make people like think a little bit, you know what I mean? So I just sit there like just listening to the same thing over and over. And they were like, you're so sick. And like eventually I'd be like, oh, I got it. And I'll write it. And they're like, your brain works in the most like rotten but efficient way. And I'm like, thank you.
Thank you. It's very effective.
Yes. I've like tweaked my brain to be very good at this one thing.
Brain rot.
Yes.
You come up with good brain rot.
No, yes.
I love it.
True.
I love it. So, okay. So now we know how you got into social media. How was it for you coming into the plastic surgery world as an outsider? Because that's something that I know I've seen a lot of girls who kind of come into plastic surgery for the first time and they're like, what? Y'all can do what?
Yeah. So I have been a huge Dr. Miami fan when I was growing up, and he would literally post like live surgery. So I wasn't super like green when it comes to like, you know, the opening up people aspect or like what it really looks like implants. I think more I was shocked by how nonchalant they were about altering the human body. Like it was like not even a second thought. Like because what I would see on Snapchat were like moms that, had children, they had excess skin, maybe their boobs like deflated because of like not milking, but something called nursing.
Breastfeeding.
So like it made sense, like, it made sense. They were big surgeries, and like you would think as you're watching the Snapchat that a lot of consideration went into that decision, especially because it also costs a lot of money. But then when I get there, I'm seeing like people come in for like the most minuscule things, and they're like, fuck it, let's do it. I'm like, what? Like, tell this girl to go home. And like, I'll say he did a good job at like turning certain people away. Like he had like a little quiz on the intake sheet kind of to suss out your body dysmorphia. And if you had like extreme body dysmorphia, he would be like, sorry, we can't help you. I mean, me with my arm lipo, they're so callous about it. They're just like, okay, it's like literally 15 minutes. Like, it's not that big a deal. Like, you'll go home after. And I'm like, but hello, like, I'm going under anesthesia. Like, I'm like, in a sense, like, not mutilating, but like, I'm creating like great trauma in an area of my body on a regular Tuesday. Like, that shit does not make sense to me.
Yes. And I had an episode just recently where one of the surgeons, he said, to me, it's just another Tuesday and I'm just doing surgery. To them, it's like a life altering moment, transformation in their day. Today's the day of the surgery. To them, it's a huge day. Right. And this is exactly that. To us in the office, we see so many patients. We talk about plastic surgery all day, every day. It's just a little lipo. It's just a little muscle repair. It comes to be that for us. But for the patient, it's one of the most important transformative days of their life.
Yeah, of course. And also, like, that's like just surgery. Like, that doesn't even touch when you get into like aesthetics or like injectables, things like that. Like, that is an even more insane, like, which he doesn't really do. Like, Dr. Miami didn't really do injectables. He gave himself Botox. He gave me Botox one time. But like, he doesn't really administer it. But yeah, like, we had visited some clinics because he works with a lot of other plastic surgeons who have med spas. And yeah, like, that's even more insane. Like, just walk in, put something in your face and you leave. And I'm like, hello, like, that's not going anywhere. Like, Botox makes sense because like whatever, just freezes the muscle. But you're not really like, your body's not going to absorb something. I mean, it will, but not really. But like filler, like, it will be in you for the rest of your life. Like, it has nowhere to go. Like, it has no escape route.
You know, what's interesting about filler? I have been getting lip filler for the last 15 years, forever, really? Right? Yeah. And I eat through that stuff. Oh, 4 months later, I need lip filler again. 4 months later, 5 months. It doesn't matter which one it is. It doesn't matter if it's the most cross-linked, the less cross-linked. Doesn't matter. My body eats through that.
What do you think it is?
My metabolism. I think it's just my metabolism, or I don't know. I think that's what it is. It's just my metabolism just eats right through it. On the other side of that, recently I saw an MRI of somebody's face. And did you see that? It was all over TikTok.
No.
They did an MRI of a woman's face who had filler for like 10 years. And what they found was that some of that filler had never dissolved and it was still there. It was still in the tissues. So why couldn't that be my problem? Dang it. Why couldn't I?
No, you don't want that problem. You don't want that problem.
Ooh,
you have to become the psychological component of plastic surgery is also insane, which is, like, I think we'll talk about it later when we're talking about my arm lipo, is that not only are the people who work there like desensitized, but like you become desensitized after the fact, and it becomes just like okay, like whatever, we did the first round, but maybe let's just treat this and that and this and that, and it becomes like this, like almost. It's like almost worse than, no, it's not worse than gambling, but it's like that because you're spending also hella money. Like, if it wasn't so expensive, then I would be like, okay, I get it. But like, you're putting like a down payment on your body every fucking time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I'm like, guys, like, what are we doing for work? Like, I need to get into whatever industries you're in because this is insane.
Yeah. You know what? Whenever I call it a slippery slope. And
It is.
I've had one of my girls send me a picture of something that she saw somewhere and it said slippery slope on it. And she said, I saw this and it made me think of you because of what you say on the show, that once you alter one body part, it like something happens in your brain where you're like, wait, what? I can change anything. I can make anything look better. And it's a very slippery slope down there to body dysmorphia where you want to change everything about your body. I'm glad we talk about it. And I'm always talking about that slippery slope of tweaking to perfection.
It reminds you of that TikTok audio that's like, Mama, I'm chasing a ghost. Like you're chasing a ghost. Like you're never going, like at one point it becomes like imagined. Like the goal that you have is not like, it's not that it's not real, but like you're never going to be happy. Like you could reach the goal that you did set for yourself, but once you get to that point, you'll be like, there's still better. And it's because a lot of that is like coming from comparison. Like it's coming from social media and like seeing it and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like maybe her doctor is better, or like maybe she used a different implant or a different stitch or whatever it is. And it's like, girl. And it's even worse, I feel like, with young people, like people like my age to 35, 40, it's like at one point you start to look older. Like these like cosmetic things are making you look like not unnatural in the sense like you have like big boobs, but like uncanny valley, like not human.
I agree with that. I think social media and the filters have a lot to do with it, of what patients are coming in looking like. I want to look like this, but that what they're showing us is a filter. And it's like, okay, well, show me that with no filter. Show it just her real face. And they can't find anything of no filter because it's all a filter. They're using filters all the time. So I think that's a really interesting thing that we touched on. So now tell me about how it was for you to have your arm lipo.
Oh. Okay. So I always carried fat in my arms. Like when they ended up doing arm lipo, they removed like if I remember correctly, it was like 800 cc's of fat, which is like crazy. It's like enough to give you a BBL. Like it's enough for a skinny BBL. And it was just from my arms. So like I was pretty much like, I was doing CrossFit. Like I was very muscular, like very lean, except for my arms. And I refused to have plastic surgery. Actually, I would like tell them like, no, like I could work this out. Like I could work this out. And so like I committed to like a full year of like weight training and even personal training to whatever, make my arms more toned, whatever. And it just didn't work. Even though my arms are more toned, you can't spot train fat. Like, you know what I mean? So eventually I was like, fuck it, bro. Like I spoke to everyone in the office. Everyone in the office was like, bro, it's literally 40 minutes. Like everybody here has arm lipo. Like literally like all the girls who work there have arm lipo. They're like, just do it. Like this girl did it 3 weeks before her wedding. Like you could do it. And I'm like, okay. So I booked the surgery for like October 31st. So it was like Halloween. And I do it. And it's like the most surreal thing. So I had only had surgery. Like I had only been under anesthesia once before, which is when I was like 10 and I broke my ankle. I don't remember a lot of it, but this time, like Barry, who's the anesthesiologist, he like also kind of has his own social media. So he was like, hey, like, I mean, you're not any regular patient. Like, do you mind if we record like injecting you, whatever, or like what is doing the IV? And I'm like, yeah, no problem, whatever. My surgery is free. It's the least I could do. So I'm like totally calm. Like I'm not thinking about this surgery at all. He goes to put the IV and he misses. Like he does like this whole intro for the video. Like he's like, this is the Barry Miller method, da, 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 and he misses. And I'm like, no. He's like, and I missed. I'm like, no. And like, I don't know why, but like as soon as he missed, like something in my brain like just fucking broke. And I was like, I'm like, knock me out right now because I'm about to get off this table. Like I started to like overthink it or whatever. So he like quickly does another IV he's like, do you want to fall? Like, do you want to feel yourself falling asleep, or do you just want me to knock you out? I'm like, knock me out. And then like 10 seconds later, I wake up. And when I wake up, I'm just like, it's so like surreal. Like you wake up and it feels like no time has passed. You're literally, it's almost like you blinked. It's actually really similar to like knocking out, fainting. It's like that. So like you wake up and you're like, what, like, where am
What
I?
happened?
Like, what happened? And I wake up and I'm like, you guys didn't do the surgery? Like it's so like such little time had passed from my perspective that like I didn't think it was imaginable that they had done my surgery. And they're like, no, we did your surgery. And as soon as they said like we did your surgery, I just felt like all the pain in my arms. I'm like, oh no, they did the surgery. And like I look and it's just like this like burning sensation, but also like it was so weird. So I started telling them like I was in so much pain, and I'm like, I need compression. Like I need like something to hold. Like I felt like my arms were like falling apart. I was like, I need compression. I need compression. They're like, we're not supposed to do a compression after surgery on your arms. And I'm like, I need it. So I see screaming. Mind you, these are my coworkers. So they're like, fuck. And they call like the compression socks and they put it on my arms. I'm like, it definitely felt better, but the pain was so bad. And so I'm like crashing out over my arms and they're all looking at me like this, like, and I'm just looking at them like, what's going on? And they're like, Sam Rizzle, we have something to tell you. And I'm like, what happened? Like, I'm literally like, what's going, like there's too many things going on. And they're like, your face is like really messed up. We don't know why, but like, we don't want to show you, like, we don't want to show you in case you're going to freak out. But I was so focused on my arm, like, I don't give a fuck. And they like show me, and I literally have like all my face is like little red dots, and like a vessel in my eye had popped as well. It was like all over my face, all over my chin, whatever. And the hypothesis is that I was straining after like all that happened, like the scenario with the ID. Like I had gone down basically fighting the anesthesia. And when they intubated me and flipped me over to do the arm lipo, I was basically like fighting, and like the stress of it caused like a bunch of vessels in my face and eye to pop.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just like, no, like I don't care about that. Like I was like, I have bigger fish to fry. So I remember like they take you to the hotel, which is across the street, and the whole time I'm just in pain and I'm crying and I'm saying like, I regret this. Like I wish I never did this. Like this is not worth it. Like the pain was so bad for me. And then I get to the hotel, they give me like my mom was there, and she was like, my parents are like, they're so anti-pharmaceutical drugs that she only allowed me to take like Tylenol 800. So she gives me Tylenol 800 and I just like knock out. And then once I knocked out and I woke up, it was pretty much fine. And the only pain that I would have was when I had to go get the massages. That I would cry every single time. So painful. It's like one big bruise on you, and someone's just like milking your bruise. Like that shit is, and then the sensation of like liquid coming out of your arms is disgusting. Like so I remember I was staying at the hotel, and like mind you, everybody in the plastic surgery world is like, this is the most like baby surgery you could have. Like it's just like after a boob, yeah, like after a boob job, like this is like they're like on par with like easy. And the women walking around the same floor as me had like their tits, their arms, their stomachs, their butts, like their chin, like everything done at once. And they're looking at me like, girl, like there's no fucking way you're crying right now. So yeah. And I remember thinking like, I don't know how they're doing it, like pain wise. Like I don't understand how they're okay right now. But it's obviously because they were on way stronger drugs than I am.
I wonder also, that's true. And also, I bet they were moms. I bet they've probably gone through childbirth.
Right. That's true. So other than that, it was fine. Like I would say after a week and a half, I had like really great mobility. I didn't really have so much pain. And I also went like by a week and a half, I was kind of done like draining. And that was it.
How long did you wear compression?
They said for a month, but I don't think I did. They wore it for like 3 weeks. The swelling is going to go down eventually. Like, even if you never wear compression, like, it will go down. It's just a matter of time.
Exactly.
So I was like, whatever. I was like, even my arm's swollen now is still like, I don't know, 80% smaller than when my arms were before. So I was like, I don't give a fuck. I'll just wait.
I love that. I love to hear it. So ever since your arm lipo, how has it changed how you dress? What has it changed for you?
Especially like the first 2 or 3 months, my arms looked sick, like super nice, because I had been spot training and like weight training, all this stuff. So like I had a lot of like muscle. So my arms were like cut. Like even now they look cut because of like arm lipo, but they were super sick. Like people would be like, bro, your arms are amazing. And it was like a crazy feeling because you go from like having arms that you hate, and then it's like the body part that people are complimenting, which was like super cool. I wouldn't say that it's really changed how I dress or anything like that, because I've always just dressed however the fuck I wanted, but I definitely feel like better about it. Like I'm like more like I like my arms. Like I'm like pointing all the time. I'll do jumping jacks for you right now. Like I'm not worried when I see them, like, you know, like when I take a photo, I'm not worried that like my arm is going to look like big, like whatever.
I love it. I love it. So now that you've had your surgery and you are back out on the prowl for a new adventure, what do you see yourself getting into?
Like work-wise?
Work-wise, life-wise. I love this aspect of knowing women when they haven't had surgery, and then watching them have surgery, and then watching them what they do with their life. I've seen some crazy transformations that I love. So
yeah.
I'm curious to see, what do you see in your future?
I don't know. I don't think it's anything like, I don't think my arms, I didn't really have like that much of a complex around them. And I don't think they were ever like holding me back in life. So whatever I do now, like wouldn't be, at least from my perspective, like different from what I would have done had I never gotten it. But I mean, work-wise, TikTok's getting banned. But I honestly get super excited for shit like that, because like when you're like forced to make a change, like I feel like that's like when the coolest stuff happens. Like the law firm, like I was like at the precipice. I was like, either we're going balls deep, $100,000-$200,000 of debt, or we're gonna figure out something different. And I figured out something different, and I got to live like a super cool life for like 2-3 years. And I don't know, maybe social media doesn't change and all the brands just move from like TikTok to Instagram or Facebook or whatever else comes out. I'm super like go with the flow. I feel like when you start to stress out about things, you're like energetically you're telling the universe that you don't think you're gonna be like all right. If you're like go with the flow, you're more like inviting. You're more like whatever happens, it's gonna be okay. Whereas like if you start to stress, you're telling the universe like subconsciously, I don't think I'm okay. Like, or I don't think I will be okay. Which is so like zen of me. But it's the truth.
I love it. I love it. I think going with the flow, for me now that I have kids, it's not as easy as probably it would have been if I didn't have kids. Because with kids, I'm thinking about their future and what's going on, what I have to do with them. Although I do try to take a very laid back approach to my parenting style, I need to do a little more go with the flow.
I mean, it's a completely different story when you're thinking of like other people's lives, but I'm single, I'm childless, so I get to be like selfish in that aspect. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm like, but it's also like a dangerous, I feel like that's also a slippery slope, because you could be so like go with the flow that you don't actually like jump for the opportunities that like present themselves. So it's definitely a balance, and I do recognize that. I don't know if the next thing is social media or like, for example, last night I went to my other boss, the one who owns the film lab who I still work for. He's like a cinematographer. So he's always like on these like music video shoots or whatever. And I went to one last night just to like hang out with him. And I was like telling him like the monitor is there. And I'm like, this area needs more lighting. Like this guy's not using the entire set. Like I'm like telling him all these things. And he's like, no, that's like really good. And he like brings over the directors and they're like, no, you're right. And like they start making all these changes. And he's like, wait, maybe like you want to get into like creative directing. Cause like it's just people who are like looking for problems and like fixing it and like making it like optimal. So I don't know. There's always like a million things to do. I feel like the world is just like who you know. Like at the end of the day, after I got a degree in something that I've never used, after I got legal experience that I'll never follow through on, and like made it to this point, I realized that like literally it's the opportunities you go for and the people that you know that put you where you are in life. Like, and that's like any industry. And that's why you see so many mediocre people at the top because they just knew the right person.
Networking. It's all about networking.
Yeah.
And do you see yourself in the future
getting more plastic surgery?
No. Do you?
I feel like when I have kids, probably like,
yeah.
Like normal.
A mommy makeover. You're like, it's time to tune up. Hopefully by then, I think it'll be more acceptable. And like in other countries, they wear their wrappings and their bandages with pride because it's like, heck yeah, I did it. I had the funds. I had the time. I did it. It's like nothing. But here, it's still kind of frowned upon, secretive. Although in my world, it's not frowned upon and secretive. And I'm like, everybody talks about surgery and it's so normal to me.
It's also like, it's so funny, like what surgeries are okay versus like what surgeries aren't okay. When like ultimately the risks are like at this point pretty much the same. Like I understand the conversation surrounding BBLs like 5-10 years ago, but at this point like it's just as risky as like a tummy tuck. But like you can get a nose job if you can't breathe. But if you want a nose job just so
because you don't like your
big,
nose,
then that's wrong. Like there's a lot of like double standards like with plastic surgery that I think are so funny. Like you can't get a facelift, but you can get like filler to lift your face. Like that makes no sense. Like I don't know. Like you can't get a full nose job, but you can correct it with filler. Like the things that are like minimally invasive are seen to be like more acceptable. To me, I feel like they're worse. Like you might as well just go on.
Just go with this. Just go have the surgery.
Yeah, I never have to like continue to do it. Like you know what I mean?
Santina, I have loved having you on. I think we got to see a lot of insight in how your journey was. You know what you didn't mention, and I'm so curious. Did you have phantom or like the different sensations when your nerves started to, all the sensations started to come back?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when because it's like it's completely numb for like months, and then random parts of your arms will like start to tingle. And I was such a bad patient. Like I was like a hypochondriac. Like every 3 seconds, I was like texting out to Ryan, like, no, like I'm 90% sure I have a blood clot. Like I was literally telling him like, you need to send the ultrasound lady to my room like right now. And he's like, you're fucking crazy. Like you're 24, you're perfectly healthy. Like you are fine. Like if anything, I should send her to somebody else's room. So yeah, once like my arms started coming back into whatever, I'm like, it's necrosis. Like I literally was like telling you like crazy ass shit. But yeah, eventually you get like all the full sensation. But it was definitely like uncanny valley to like touch your arm and like not actually feel you touching yourself. That was weird.
That is such a weird feeling. I still, on my tummy tuck incision, there's still some spots where like right at the incision line where it feels weird when I touch it. And although a lot of the sensation, most of the sensation, like my belly button, all of my sensation came back, but there's some spots on my scar that I can touch. And I'm like, I don't feel this. This is numb here.
No, it's so freaky. I have like a scar on my leg from when I had surgery when I was 10. And it's still like 14 years later, like numb, like not like completely numb, but like weird. Like it's never fully come back. And I've always been creeped out by it. And just like ignore that leg. I'm like, you're there. I'm not touching you.
So, Santina, if any of my girls want to come follow you, how can they find you?
Well, I'm on TikTok for a couple more weeks under the @Sanrizzle, SANRIZZLE. And then my Instagram is Santina X Rizzy. But honestly, I should change it to Sanrizzle because like, what the fuck? Why do I have 2 different usernames?
Change it.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Maybe YouTube, maybe a podcast. I don't know.
We're here to see. We're eager to see what you get yourself into. I'm eager to see.
Thank you, queen.
So with that, I'll see you guys next week.
So if you're listening to this episode and you're listening to the Big Butts No Lies podcast, you might be on your surgery journey. And if you are, and you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, you've come to the right place. I am so excited to do one-on-ones with you guys. I've realized as I do them more and more just how valuable they are to you, not only because you get my expert opinion, I get to guide you towards plastic surgeons that we know are going to do a good job and keep you safe. Besides all that, I get to talk to you about things that might not even be on your radar, things that you don't even know are possible. But since we get so in depth with our conversations and I really get to know what your dreams are and what you're really looking for with your body, I can tailor my recommendations to the surgeons that I know can help you achieve that. And taking the guesswork out of who to go to is invaluable. So schedule your one-on-one phone call with me. You can go to my website, go to the quick links, submit your information, let me get to know you, let me see how can we help you. You can get your own team. You guys, I have been working so hard behind the scenes to come up with a perfect way for you to have your plastic surgery and not only come out with beautiful incisions, but also feeling beautiful on the inside. So book your call with me and take the guesswork out of your plastic surgery journey. And don't forget, new episodes every Monday. I'll see you then.